If you're watching this video right now, you're probably kind of confused about how to write a good personal statement. I've been there before. I applied to UK universities through the UCAS when I was in high school. Okay, but I know you're probably kind of confused because different people will give you different advice. The personal statement ultimately is quite a subjective matter. However, throughout the years, I've applied to over 100 positions, whether it be internship or university position. I've been accepted into two of the largest organizations in the world, Bain & Company and KPMG, which is a global consulting firm and one of the largest accounting firms in the world. And throughout the years, I've definitely refined my approach to writing these application essays. Okay, so the approach that I'm about to teach you has been proven to work. Before we get into specific techniques and what to say, you need to understand what a personal statement is. A good personal statement should answer three key questions well. The first question, why are you interested in the position? You need to show your genuine interest here. The second question is, why are you capable? Universities or companies do not want to hire someone who is incapable. And the third question you got to answer is, what makes you stand out from other candidates? If you're able to answer these three questions well, you would have a highly persuasive personal statement. This may sound very obvious, and I'm sure many people have told you to do this, but it's surprising how many people do not actually do it. Okay, so it's very important that you research the institute, because in order to show you have a genuine interest for the position you're applying for, at least at the very minimum, you need to be able to convince the other person, the admissions tutor, that you know what you're about to get into, you know what the degree would mean. Okay, so how could you show this through your personal statement? This is my advice. You should go on the university website to look for the prospectus for the diploma, and then try to summarize what is being learned, what will be learned in that diploma, and then try to put a spin on it to show your interest. Let me give you an example. Okay, so let's say I'm interested in applying for economics. Okay, so I would say something like this. Using mathematical models to predict behaviors of different stakeholders in the market has always intrigued me. Furthermore, I'm interested to learn more about how government policies can affect the well-being of different stakeholders in the economy dramatically. Okay, so by saying something like that, first of all, you show that you know what the diploma would mean, and secondly, you show them that you're interested in what you're about to learn. Okay, it's obviously not enough to just tell them that you're interested in studying the material. You need to prove it to them, and I think one of the best ways to prove it to them is to use 3 to 4 sentences to talk about a current affair that interests you. And I think the benefit of that is that you show the admission tutor that you're interested enough to go the extra mile, to get outside of the classroom, to learn the subject matter on your own. Okay, it shows that you really have a genuine interest. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say I'll use economics as the example again. I could say something like that. Through my extracurricular reading in magazines such as The Economist, I've read about the Euro debt crisis and have a general understanding that the Euro debt crisis is about doubts of creditworthiness. I'm passionate to learn more about the real root causes of the Euro debt crisis in university and what could lead to a global recession. Okay, so in the first part you have talked about current affairs, and you have talked about why you're interested, like in terms of the material. Okay, but anyone could say something like that. Okay, like it's not personal. You get what I mean? So for my next tip, I would advise you to say something personal, and I would think personal experiences to demonstrate your genuine interest. Okay, and as a rule of thumb, when you talk about experiences, it's always better to be specific than to be general. The more specific you are, the more persuasive you would be. Let me give you an example. let's say I worked in Hong Kong economics time. A general way to talk about my experience would be something like that. I worked in Hong Kong economic times last year and gained experience in economics. That's very general. And you haven't even talked about your accomplishments. But to be more specific, you can say something like that. In the summer of 2012, I worked in Hong Kong Economics Time, which is one of the largest financial publications in Hong Kong. I was assigned by my supervisor to write about the equity market and the global financial crisis. I worked independently to conduct research, and in the end I submitted 10 articles, 9 of which were published. Okay, so you can see the difference. I talked about the topics that I touched on. I talked about what I wrote about. I was very specific in the areas I got into. And more importantly, I talked about the accomplishment, what I accomplished from the experience. Last three advice are mainly about how to show your interest, how to make your interest shine in the eyes of the admission tutor. But equally important is to show them that you're capable, you have the ability. So let me tell you, I believe universities, when they look at your personal statements, and they judge whether or not you're capable, they look at three main criteria. The first criteria is your ability to meet deadlines, okay? Because universities, they don't have time to chase after students to be responsible. And secondly, they will prefer students who have active involvement in extracurricular activities, because obviously they want an active university environment, and they would like you if you could contribute to that. And thirdly, I believe is the ability to handle academic rigor. University courses are by no means easy, so you need to prove it to them that you have the ability to handle it well. Okay, so if you can show them that you can do all three at once, I believe they will think that you're capable. So let me give you an example. I believe and here, it's important that you use experiences, because as I said, experience is what sells. If you tell me you're smart enough, I wouldn't know if you're telling me the truth. But if you tell me a story to give me an example of what you did before, it will be much more compelling. Okay, so I could say something like that. Throughout the rigorous IB diploma, I played as the captain of my school's soccer team, and we won the Hong Kong championships. Okay. While being the captain of the school soccer team, I managed to get to be one of the top students in my grade and achieving a predicted grade of 40 out of over 45. This shows my ability to work under a tight schedule and to manage my time effectively. So ultimately, the people who would read your personal statements, they're academics, and they really care about your ability to thrive in that subject area. Okay, so I think the most effective way to prove it to them is to leverage on your academic experiences up until high school. And most importantly, you should link it to the skills that you have learned. For example, from math, you may have learned numerical skills, calculus, and maybe from economics, you have gotten a general understanding about microeconomic markets and about the macroeconomy, for example. So you should think this way. If you're applying for economics, for example, you should ask yourself what kind of skills are they looking for. So probably they would look for math skills, calculus, and it will be an advantage if you have studied economics in high school. So you can tie those to your skills. For example, you can say something like that. Throughout the IB diploma, I have studied higher level mathematics, where I learned about calculus and various topics such as functions and algebra. Moreover, I studied economics higher level, which has equipped me with a general understanding about microeconomics, macroeconomics, and international economics. The economics courses give me a certain degree of economic literacy, which allows me to understand economic phenomena much more easily than I did before. Okay, so the key is you need to talk about what you've learned in high school and link it to what skills you have learned through those courses. Okay, to make your case that you have the ability, you have the academic ability to thrive in the current diploma you're applying for. Okay, so I hope the tips would help you in pursuit of your dream university. But most important is actually your IB grades. Okay, no matter how well you write a personal statement, if you don't have your grades to back it up, nothing would work. Okay, so if you need any help with IB courses, we offer free trial lessons. So send us an email, and I look forward to serving you another time.